Alec Appleton here to discuss the Ventura County Emergency Management Portal. This portal is a resource for real-time geospatial tools and information designed to kind of support effective emergency management across Ventura County. From situational awareness and incident management to logistics and public information, the portal provides the tools and data needed to prepare, respond, and recover from an emergency. This is going to be a two-point discussion. The first part is going to be walking through some of the interactive maps, dashboards, and applications. And these are tailored to meet the needs of both emergency personnel and the public. And then from the student perspective, to get my thoughts on the assignment and kind of the strategy and the layout and some of the challenges that I experienced with this particular project. So let's go ahead and start with the home page. The portal has 5 different pages, starting with the home page. The home page is kind of more of the situational awareness concept where it provides general information, introductory text on, what the portal is, what tools it has, how to interact with it, and things of that nature. So the first item here is the Ventura County Situational Awareness Viewer, which is a application that incorporates various data sources from fire data to NOAA weather data to give a general overview of things that are current. Now, it's not tied into any of the incident stuff that's in the incident management page, but again, looking at real-time data, somebody logging in could see things that are occurring. So looking at Ventura County, a lot of fires going on in California as usual. The Apache fire, obviously, in the northwest kind of part of the county, when you have the Smoky fire on the border. We did have one here that we'll utilize as kind of a reference when we walk through some of these other tools. The Burlington fire, but that's been contained and it's essentially off the map now. But I did leave some of the data points in as a kind of beta version walkthrough of some of the other tools. So you can open the situational viewer in another application or another window so you can kind of see it and kind of interact with it more. Kind of have some instructions here, different kind of interactive legend that you could manipulate and kind of walk through some of the data points. And again, you got pop-ups here as well that talk about the incident, when it was discovered, percent contained. And it looks like this one's 100% now. And as we kind of go forward with the homepage, we also have a wind conditions overview. This is particularly important in Ventura County because wind is obviously driving a lot of the fire spread. So this is up-to-date weather data from current weather stations, just as an additional visualization of some of the weather data that is occurring within Ventura County. Then we go into the place vulnerability portfolio, and this is a collection of maps to kind of understand the various hazards and vulnerabilities across Ventura County. Again, you could open it up into a separate window, enter it, and walk through all the different maps provided in here. And then there's discussions and kind of instructions on how to interpret the data and what things to look at when analyzing some of these things. So a good starting point from the homepage standpoint. And then once I publish this video, this will be incorporated here. And then we have some general frequently asked questions that you could look at to kind of navigate the portal and how to work with some of the tools. So that's going to bring us to the incident management page. The incident management page is the central hub for monitoring, coordinating, and responding to emergencies across Ventura County. Here you're going to find tools and data kind of crucial for managing incidents and deploying resources and tracking the status of ongoing operations. This page is tailored to support emergency personnel in making informed decisions quickly and efficiently. So we start with the incident status dashboard, which shows all the different incidents that could be mapped that are occurring. For this kind of beta walkthrough, we left the Burlington fire on there within the dashboard so that you can kind of see kind of how it works. Right now, this is the only incident within these different tools to kind of examine. So that is that. Then you could again open it into another window. You have the individual assistance dashboard, and this is a tool for tracking and managing disaster recovery efforts in Ventura County, and we'll discuss that in damage assessment page. But this is kind of the first look at it, and you can kind of work with the data to see, different places that may have been destroyed, major, minor damage assessment reports, all into a central hub. As we scroll down, we have the individual assistance survey. You can complete the individual assistance survey here, which is used by emergency management teams to kind of assess the needs of residents affected by disasters. Click on the link. It will take you to the individual assessment survey. It'll pop up in survey 1, 2, 3, load up. You have all the information in here. Having a little load failure there. I'll correct that after publishing this. And this is where assessment teams can assess damage in the field. And within incident management, there's additional data sources that I've kind of incorporated in dashboards that are ongoing in Ventura County to get other looks just for situational awareness. You could visit the CAL FIRE website that also has a pretty decent dashboard here that's similar to kind of what we have as far as incident management map and different things that you can look at from a data perspective. And then Ventura County Sheriff's Office also has a pretty good dashboard as well that looks at incidents within Ventura County. And we'll wait for that to load up. And this is generally how it looks. No evacuation orders, no evacuation warnings. Nothing really going on. There was a little bit of movement here with the Burlington fire, but it looks like everything is ceased. And then download your Ventura County map book. And the map book provides a collection of national grid maps designed for emergency personnel. Now, in this particular beta model, it's the map book from another incident, but as we kind of clean this up and get going, there'll be blank templates in there for people to download and use in the field if necessary. As we get to damage assessment, we have a variety of damage assessment tools, and these will help evaluate and report the impact of disaster across Ventura County. We kind of already saw the damage assessment dashboard in the previous incident management page, but here's a duplicate to kind of look at it from the damage assessment page in conjunction with using Quick Capture for collecting the damage reports. And Quick Capture, easy to use mobile app that allows emergency responders to collect information from the field, capture photos, location data with a single tap of a button on a smartphone or a iPad of that nature. Again, setting up different buttons. I always like to open these dashboards in a separate page. So to do that, you just click on the button and open the damage assessment dashboard. Moving on to logistics, the logistics page again provides tools and resources for managing and tracking assets, personnel, and supplies during emergencies in Ventura County. We could utilize these tools to ensure effective resource allocation and coordinated response efforts. Again, for this beta model, we have the Burlington fire established. We've established a mandatory evacuation zone. We have a couple shelters set up, incident command posts, incident base, just to visualize kind of how this would show up in the logistics viewer. And then the interactive legend on the right to kind of look at that. And the other thing that I kind of incorporated into this was to put the incidents layer in there as well, so you could see the incidents in relation to some of the logistical things that you would have to focus on during an emergency management situation. Then we have the facility Quick Capture to add facilities. Again, a tool for logistics or people in the field that need to set up an incident command post. They could do that through Quick Capture. You could download the application and then go in there. That link is actually supposed to go to the Quick Capture itself, but it's not linked to this computer. So that was the intent there. And then the last page is the public information page. And this page is designed for the public to kind of understand what's occurring within the county. And it provides essential resources on real-time updates to keep the Ventura County residents informed during emergencies. And it starts with the Nearby app, and this is a really good app to see whether or not a particular address falls within a evacuation site and what different facilities may be close proximity to your residence. So if we clicked in here, we would get a mandatory evacuation order for housing within Zone 6 in Fillmore, which was the Burlington fire. That's a notional evacuation point, but that just gives you an example of kind of how that works. And then submitting a public damage report. This would link you to the damage report survey from the public. Click on the link, fill in the information, and you can get public damage reports that get incorporated into our dashboards for better situational awareness from the public. And then we go into the Ventura County Disaster Preparedness Story Map, which gives you a overview of the Thomas Fire, which occurred in 2017, and kind of walks through that from a preparedness standpoint, and has a variety of different resources in here as you kind of go through it. It also has a little slider to see the extent of the damage, which is pretty cool, from Esri's disaster response team or program, and then a threat or a wildfire fire risk map of Ventura County, which has a lot of description of those threats within those particular regions. And then we get into the social vulnerability index, looking at is essentially a tool to help identify communities within Ventura County that are more likely to be adversely affected during and after disasters. That's all in there. You can go into the application that we created to kind of look at that data and examine it. And then the last component of this was the disaster preparedness general tips for fires in Ventura County. And again, developed a kind of methodology on things that or a checklist per se on things that you should take into account to be ready. And I think for Ventura County, the biggest risk is fire. And you have some flood risk along the coast and some other low-lying areas. But generally speaking, this is more tailored towards fires, since it's like the number one risk in Ventura County. And then you can go to the FEMA or wildfire evacuation checklist, which has a lot of good information from FEMA. And that's really it from the Ventura County Emergency Management Portal. Now, transition to the student aspect of this project is a really good project. I learned a tremendous amount on this, and I spent a lot of time on this one. And in kind of the design layout of this, I wanted it to be a light colored, very simple to navigate portal that you could open up a lot of the tools in separate windows. Now, from a programming perspective, HTML, I'm not that well versed, so I struggled a lot on the aesthetic portion of making it. I probably spent more time on making everything look good and function correctly through HTML than I did on some of the products itself. And I know that's not the methodology we're looking at, but I just have this kind of like OCD thing with presentations and PowerPoint and layouts that I want things to look good. So I spent a lot of time with learning HTML, and I did take the WebGIS class concurrently this semester. So I got to work out a lot of those challenges in that class, but also with the final. So I pushed the WebGIS final to complete a week early so I could focus on this. And a lot of the stuff that I kind of struggled with there helped me kind of roll into this. And I've spent many nights just trying to get this header to work correctly with the HTML, to roll over it, to be underlined. I spent hours on that, and that it was good because I learned a lot about HTML, and there's a lot of good resources and videos and Discord chats and things to look at, and articles that could help you. But again, I kind of struggled through some of those components. But if I was to do this project again, I cut the time in half, because now I know how to remove a background from a logo. Now I know how to set different colors and things like that. And so that perspective was good. The other challenge was we talked about data management and file organization and utilizing the folders and things of that nature. And for the most part, I did an okay job at that. But then as I started getting towards the deadline, and not to make this video too long, but I started to get a little loose with that. So I'm saving images in here and URLs and all this stuff to kind of create the interactive interface in multiple places. And then re-looking at the purpose of, what Quick Capture does, what does it link to, what is the Survey 123 providing, all that aspect. I started to kind of lose some of that connection, and then I had to kind of bring it back in and go step by step to ensure that everything kind of connected to everything and worked efficiently. And I think those were the biggest challenges for me. But again, now that I've went through this, I'm way more versed in kind of the layout, the functionality, how I could organize things to make things look good. And it was definitely beneficial. So not to go too far with that, but I think those were the biggest challenges. Again, for as far as the layout's concerned, I wanted to start from scratch. I didn't really want to use some of the templates in there. I know they're designed to do that. I did use all the major products that we developed through the semester, but as far as the hub site look, I wanted it to have more of a kind of professional appeal, and be a little bit different from what the generic settings are. So I put a lot of time into that. The way forward, if I was going to publish this in real life, I would spend another 3 weeks on this, kind of focusing on each of the different components and dashboards and data sources to make sure everything worked perfectly, and then have a better understanding of all the different components of it, so that, as I'm writing how to explain this to other people, it would be a little bit tighter. Now, kind of the language I used for this was like a first time beta model. So, when talking about damage assessment, for example, I'm explaining it almost to like a first time user. And I know that was kind of the intent, but again, if we're to publish this, I would probably kind of change the language a little bit, depending on the audience, depending on, what, if we brief this in another way prior to execution or launch, I might change that language. But I made this all more of like, hey, introducing Quick Capture, or hey, this is the logistics manager. This is what it does, and this is why we use it, and stuff like that. So I would adjust that language a little bit more. Again, I would incorporate more of the tools. I probably have all of the quick captures and survey 123s maybe in a particular area, and maybe add an apps page where I could do all the download stuff and explain that a little bit better and how to use those things. I could work on this for months and enjoy it, because I actually really did enjoy this project. But yeah, so those would be the things that I would do on the way forward. But overall, great semester. I've learned more in this class in cartography than I had in any other class at Johns Hopkins, and I graduate next semester. It's been an absolute pleasure. I appreciate it, and thank you.